wasn't during the meeting. So thank you.
Perfect. All right. So we'll roll call. Okay. So Dr. Hoffman, I believe he was actually absent today. So I'm going to mark him absent excused. Vice Chair Dr. Netsky.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Greer, I believe he's also absent, excused. Dr. Berkeley.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Fry.
Present.
Thank you. Robin Dunkhorst.
Present.
Thank you. Chair Chris Posse.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mason Van Howling.
Good morning, Melinda.
Good morning. Thank you. Dr. Kilburn.
Present and accounted for.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Raven.
Present.
Thank you. Van Sparrow. I believe he was also absent, excused. Dr. Packham.
Here.
Yep. And Stacy Weeks is also absent, excused. So with that, we do have quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, would it be okay if you went through the process for public comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So public comments. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Persons making comment will be asked to begin by stating their name for the record. And with that, I'd like to call for any public comment. Right, I'm seeing none. You can go ahead and move on.
All
to
right.
The next agenda item.
Well, let's go ahead and get this meeting started. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time, especially during this holiday week, to be here and participate in kind of a couple of key items that I think are important. I will just say kind of personal note, as a personal note, when I looked at the agenda and I looked at the meeting schedule, I feel like we can do this in under an hour. So I'm rooting for us that we can do it. Not that I'm encouraging us to skip through anything that's important. So I just would encourage us all to be thoughtful and, but I do think that we should be able to wrap this up timely. So with that, can I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes. Yeah,
Second.
Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Dr. Fry gave a motion. Who's the second?
And I think Raven beat Mason.
Okay.
Dr. Raven.
Dr. Raven.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. And so with that, are there any comments or corrections or anything that anybody wants to raise before we vote? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? All right, we have approved minutes. So with that, Melinda, please walk us through the GME application evaluation meeting procedure options that you put together.
Excellent. Thank you, Chair. Just one moment while I get my screen ready. All right. Move you guys out of the way. Okay, so if you guys will recall, during our last meeting, we wanted another meeting to talk about, getting prepared for the grant evaluation committee meeting that will be in May. So our GME grant RFA is out on the streets. Very exciting. I believe that I don't have the due date in my head for it.
24th.
But thank you. April 24th is the deadline for that. So looking forward to receiving all kinds of wonderful applications. And so, yeah, just wanted to kind of walk through what to expect during the evaluation meeting and just some different ideas that we have, different strategies. Maybe. I can get going here. Here we go. Okay. So the format that we have for you all today is modeled directly from Nevada State Purchasing Division, and is how the state does procurement evaluation procedures. And then we kind of, had to add in some different things just because this is a public body and ensuring that we conduct all of the business in the open. All right, so we start kind of with step 0, the open application period for the RFA. So there's the date right there. See, I had it all ready to go. And then, so after the application deadline, we'll have 1 week for administrative review, which we discussed at the last meeting as well. Our goal at Nevada Health Authority is on or before May 1st. So we're trying to be able to go through those applications and make sure they meet all the criteria during that application administrative review. And then we'll get them to you all electronically to begin your individual evaluation process on those. So hoping to get those to you before May 1st. We'll try our best to be able to do that, give you guys as much time as possible to go through those applications. All right, so step 1 is the individual evaluation. So May 1st through the 18th is going to be the independent review phase. And that is where each of you will individually review and score all the applications received. The completed evaluation sheets will be due to myself and Dorian by May 18th. So that deadline is important because if you turn them in late, you have a risk of them not being considered in the discussion for the evaluation committee meeting. So just encourage you all to please be sure to get your completed evaluation sheets in by May 18th. So you're going to be doing 1 evaluation sheet or scoring matrix per application. So then May 19th, we'll have 1 day basically to take all of the individual application scoring matrices, and we're going to take all those scores and aggregate them into a master Excel workbook. So the idea here is that we'll have an Excel workbook that will have multiple tabs at the bottom. So each tab will correspond to each application that was received. On each tab for the application, we'll have a list of all of the advisory council members, along with the corresponding scores for those members for each of the sections of that application in particular. And then, let's see. So before the May 20th evaluation meeting, just one caveat I wanted to bring is that we will be posting all of the applications that were received online on the GME meetings page prior to the meeting. So that's all that's going to be posted before the meeting. It's just the applications themselves, because that's, informing the discussion, right, for the evaluation committee meeting. And then May 20th is going to be the evaluation meeting number 1. We do have a contingency built in, so I do have another meeting laid in there in case we don't get through all the applications in the first meeting. Just a quick note here on the scoring matrix. So this, again, is individual scoring of the applicant responses to questions and all the notes and everything. So just being sure that in your scoring matrix that's going to be turned into Nevada Health Authority, that all of your notes should be objective. So you really want to, maintain objectivity when you're describing, strengths and weaknesses to support the score given. And, as I said, complete 1 scoring matrix per application. The thing is here too that, state staff, when we score applications and proposals from our RFPs and all of that, all of our evaluation sheets are also public. So this is just a good exercise, to maintain that, that objectivity when you write your notes to support your scores. And on here, I also wanted to put the note that after all of the evaluation committee meetings are concluded, we will be posting the individual review scoring matrix for each council member for each application on the grant website.
But not our phone number.
But not your phone number. Right.
We can Google those, Dr. Fry.
All right, so now we get into the grant evaluation meeting itself. All right, So May 20th, here we go. So basically what we're looking for here is, we'll do the evaluation process where the council will review, discuss, and finalize the scores for each application. We're going to have dynamic scoring, meaning that, during the meeting, if there is a point where, based upon the discussion that you all feel the need to adjust your score on a particular part of an application or an application overall, you will have the ability to do that during that meeting. So I think that, that's important because somebody might have seen something that you didn't. And then, you want to incorporate that into your scores. And then we will do a final ranking. So funding recommendations based on the average of all the final scores for each applicant. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the contingency plan, in case we don't get through all the applications in one meeting, because we don't know how many applications we're going to get. And like I said, too, the individual scoring matrices will be posted on the grant program webpage after all of the grant evaluation meetings have concluded for the round 8 funding. All right, so then I kind of wanted to get into a couple of scenarios in the spirit of how other grant applications are handled at the national level, as was mentioned before. We thought it might be helpful if we kind of broke this out into like, okay, since we don't know how many applications we're going to get, maybe we have a cutoff of like, okay, if we get less than 24 applications, I said less than or equal to 24 applications, then we will do, everybody is going to, score all the applications and everybody will have the chance to have, open discussion and all talking about the strengths and maybe some gaps in the applications. So if we receive less than 24 applications, less than or equal to, this is kind of the proposed flow for going through each application during that meeting. So we'll have Dorian do an introduction of the application, of each application. So he'll just, give like the applicant name, basically like total budget amount that they're requesting, and maybe do a quick, overview of like the primary goal of the application or something like that. And then we'll go into the deliberation. So the council will have the open discussion, collaborative evaluation there. And then we'll have the opportunity for score refinement, so those real-time score adjustments. So what I'll plan to do during that phase of the meeting is I will screen share the Excel workbook with that tab corresponding to that application. And if anybody would like to change their scores, we can do that real time, and I'll have like a column available to, calculate those revised scores. And then we will lock in the scores for the formal recommendation. And move on to the next application.
It's like figure skating.
Exactly, locking them in. All right, so now if we receive over 24 applications, this is another scenario that we had talked about being an option. So basically, if we receive over 24 applications before the May 20th meeting, we will split the council into primary review groups. So this would allow the council is still responsible for reviewing all applications that are received, but are going to be split into groups to where, say we have group A and group B, and group A has, 10 applications. Well, they are responsible for leading the discussion and the, evaluation discussion and all that for those 10 applications. And then same for group B, it's just for those 10 applications. But then the entire council is responsible for, providing input into the group deliberation. So instead of Dorian, introducing the application, it will be, an assigned council member from one of the, lead groups that did the lead review of that application. And let's see, then we have, basically the same thing, right? So we have group deliberation, then we'll have the score refinement, and then we'll lock in the scores for that application. So I think that was all of my slides there. Yeah. So just kind of wanted to pause there if there's any questions or discussion on those scenarios.
So I'm interested, Melinda, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to kind of think through how it might work. I'm interested in members' thoughts about the cutoff point at 24, and the idea of having primary versus general reviewers. So, even though all, say we get 30, even though each of us will have to review all 30, there, if we break it into 3 groups, because there's 30, I'm not saying that's what we do, but let's assume we did, the primary reviewers would present their 10 and we'd have a conversation and so on. And we do that 3 times with each, with the 3 groups kind of leading the place where they were primary. And all of us will have had a score sheet and we could participate in the discussion. So I'm sorry for rehashing what she already told us, but just in my head, I wanted to use okay, maybe there's 3 groups,
Yeah.
just, because we don't know. Anyway, so Dr. Raven, what are your thoughts?
I like the idea. I think it can work. I'm curious, based on the previous rounds, what's the average number of applications the committee receives?
Yeah, Dorian, you mentioned a number to me the other day. I don't think, what did you say? You said there hasn't been a round where there was more than 20.
Correct. Yeah, I believe it was actually 18.
Yeah. And 18
Okay.
was hard to review, let me just tell you.
So it is pretty good probability that we would not have to break up into multiple groups, right?
Right. Dr. Fry?
So, to, I guess, counterpoint, the danger is that if we split it, then some individuals may not review as robustly as they would have if the work wasn't split. So that's my concern. If everybody's reviewing all the cases so that they participate in the discussion, great, I think it would work. But otherwise, we may have a anemic discussion as a result.
It's a fair point. And maybe it's the cut point that's the thing, that maybe, I don't know if 24 is the right number, 20 is the right number. Dr. Raven?
Can I offer a counterpoint to the counterpoint?
Yes.
But I'm just concerned that if we get very high number of applications and all of us are responsible for reviewing every single one of them, that reviewer fatigue may set, and you may start through pretty thorough review, let's say, of the first 10 applications, and after a while, you would be more likely to skim through the rest of them, particularly as the deadline is approaching and time is limited. And it may necessarily mean a fair review just because you got to see every single application, not the ones that were assigned to you.
So your point is the review might be anemic anyway because of the volume.
Right. So the bias may be like, are you going to look at the first applications much more, let's say, first 10 applications much more thoroughly than in the last 10 in the panel?
Gotcha.
Well, Leon, just for reference, my work as vice president of the medical board on the investigative committee, we have had often 120 cases to adjudicate on that committee, and the reading is robust, let me tell you. So I think that this is what we signed up for. We signed up for a proper review of each of these. I think that's what we're ultimately responsible for. And how the work split is, I think, not so important. That the work gets done is.
Yeah.
So.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Other
and I didn't mean
comments?
to.
This is Dr. Kilburn. Is this something we could table because it seems like it's the statistical improbability? So, in terms of us historically not getting more than 18, which was a high number. So as long as we're kind of where we, with, a 95% confidence interval expect to be, we can kind of all review the number of cases as kind of described originally. Over.
Yeah, the only issue that, I think that's reasonable, and we'll hear what others think about tabling it. I think the reason why it's brought today is we won't be together again until we're actually done with the review. So there won't be another time to get input about whether or not splitting it in groups is a reasonable approach if the volume's too much. So that, I think they're just bringing it, the state's bringing it as an option for us to consider and to be okay with if the volume is more than expected. But if we table it, I don't know what we do. I mean, there's no, I guess an email could go out and say, vote yes or no on, and,
Right.
but I think, oh yeah, we can't do that because it's not a public meeting.
Public.
So I think today's the day.
I think, Fry, for the record, 24 is fine. I think we've all signed up for the work. I think we're all going to look at every single one of these and bring our thoughts to the table. So I just think that sums it up.
Yeah, I agree.
And to Dr. Kilburn's point, likely we'll be in scenario 1 and we'll be reviewing them all. Fingers crossed that we'll do it. Yeah. Any other thoughts, or is the inflection point the right place? Is 24 the right number? Anybody have any concerns? As good as any other number?
24 is fine.
Okay.
I just want to throw out, what if we get 25?
Well, we're saying 24, we're splitting it. I mean, that's the,
Yep.
we have to decide.
Okay. You got it.
Any other comments or different idea? Okay. Sure. So let's vote on scenario, the implementation of scenario 1 and 2. Is there a motion that this will be our process going forward, depending on the number of applicants received?
Motion.
So I heard Dr. Fry. Is there somebody else that said something?
Dr. Kilburn. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Kilburn. Any other comments or adjustments or concerns that need to be considered before we vote?
So, and this is Gabriel Leither with the Attorney General's Office. Just for the record, the motion is to accept the recommendations as they are with the 24 number, correct?
That's correct.
With the 24 number, and that we would implement scenario 1 and scenario 2, depending on the volume. That this is our plan.
And I would say that the only caveat, Gabriel, is that we don't have an equal, so
Right.
it's less than or greater than 24. So we need
That's
I would say,
excellent point.
Yeah.
less than or equal to
Yep.
24 is more accurate.
Thank you.
Dr. Kilburn, are you okay with that amendment, given you made the second?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Any other adjustments or comments that we need to consider before we vote? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed or abstaining? All right, we have a process, plan A and B, or 1 and 2.
Congratulations.
Motion to adjourn.
Right.
So Melinda has
Yes.
some additional fun things for us.